There's a good steak. Welcome back. I've got steak and eggs for breakfast thanks to my lovely wife who gets up early and makes coffee and makes food. So I can just fool around with like all my friends on the internet all day. So speaking of that, I got something really cool here. This is from, which year we go? Dan writes, I enjoy reading your topics on your website and have picked up some useful information. That's good. It's always a plus. My last trip to Japan to judge a dog show allowed me to visit a dairy and a vegetable farm. I scored some multiplying onion sets called Kujo Negi. They are larger than any others I have grown, up to 2 feet tall and 1 inch in diameter. They're also sweeter than other varieties. They do not make bulbs nor seeds. I have mailed you some sets in thanks for all your work informing people about gardening. Plant them 2 inch deep and 10 inches apart. Divide in the fall and you will have onions forever. And that came in the mail. So I got this email from Dan, and then it's followed by some onions in my P.O. box. And there are quite a few onions. So I suppose it's time to plant them. After I eat my steak. Along with the steak, we've got fermented daikons. What'd you do to make these?
Just brine.
Just salt brine?
Salt brine. 5 days.
Right. And then I have a product. This is a product. Texas Pete hot sauce. You know how the regular Texas Pete, you just like throw it on there and it's like ketchup and you know it tastes fine but it's not awesome. This is as hot as an actual hot sauce should be. It's surprising. It actually is spicy, and this is a big problem that we lack a lot of the time, is that our hot sauce is not spicy enough. So I just put a little bit on my food for the capsaicin. It's anti-inflammatory. Everybody's out. We had one chick hatch way late, and I mean I was about ready to compost all of this, and then one more chick pops out. We're talking like a day and a half later. I was completely surprised. This incubator is the best one we have ever used. Tractor Supply sells them, and it is way better than the other ones that we've used before, the Little Giant and whatever the other one was. And the outside's actually got plastic on it, which is nice, but digital readout and everything did a really good job. And here are the results. These birds are all crossed between production red roosters and either brown leghorns, black australorps, California whites, and we had one production red hen as well. And so they are good egg-laying varieties crossed with each other, and the roosters had pretty big bodies. They're just looking really good. It ought to be an interesting mix of hybrid chickens. I'm gonna clean this thing out. Weird eggs that didn't hatch. The eggs that did hatch. And then we'll sterilize it for the next round. Yeah, these guys didn't even try. You always get a few failures, which is why you're not supposed to count your eggs until they hatch. It's literally true. Don't count your chickens. Don't count your chickens until they hatch, or is it don't count your eggs until they hatch? Don't count your chicks until they hatch?
Chickens.
Yeah, don't count your chickens.
Before they hatch.
Don't count your iguanas. Don't count anything until it hatches.
So since we have rotten eggs and shells, and we have onions, let's combine them. I like to compost everything. Now, this can be risky if you have animals that are likely to dig up rotten eggs. Sometimes your transplants can get dug up. And if that's a problem where you are, if you have things digging in your garden, maybe you have a dog and it just loves that stinky smell and really wants to have something to do with it, well, in that case, you know, you just bury deeper. This is inside of the Grocery Row Gardens. Multiple people asked me in the last video, what's a grocery row garden? I don't understand. Grocery row gardening is a method that I have been developing over time. I was inspired by Stephen Sobkowiak's permaculture orchard. I was inspired by Millicent's edible hedges, and I was inspired by a bed that I built some years ago where I put a perennial bed right in the middle of my annual gardens. I took a regular garden bed and I planted persimmons and strawberries and stuff like that in it. And it did really well, but I was still mostly tied to annuals in one system, perennials in another. So grocery row gardening is basically the outline of an orchard with a vegetable garden set up inside of it. So they're pretty standard beds, the beds being 4 foot wide with 3 foot wide pathways in between, and the beds go as long as you like. And in the beds you give some trees some nice spacing, and then you use extreme pruning to keep them small enough so they can work. So the idea is you're going shopping down the rows and getting what you want. I think I'm gonna fill in these middles too. I think we got enough space in here. And so grocery row gardening is doing your shopping out in your yard. And I wrote a little booklet on it, which is not particularly expensive. If you have learned anything from this channel and enjoy it, and I give plenty of credit to those people who have inspired me over the years, and it's got a lot of notes on things that we did and plants that we planted and which plants worked, which plants I don't think will work, etc. And I think you'll enjoy it. It's called Grocery Row Gardening. Just a little booklet. It's so kind of Dan to send me these. It's a perfect time of year to plant them too. Onions are a cool season crop. And with your perennial type onions, like green onions, you can go to the store right now and buy green onions. You could go and buy just those regular bunch of onions, and if your ground is not totally frozen hard right now, you could plant them right into your garden. And guess what? They'll grow more onions. They make a big bunch and they grow. When I was a kid, we had a student, Chinese student, who lived in our house for a little while, rented a room from my parents, and I remember him growing those green onions in the backyard. He just got some from the grocery store and planted them, and then he had a patch of them just growing in the backyard. And I thought that was really, really cool. But it's real simple. Onions are a perennial. Sometimes if you have a real hot climate, they'll die out in the summer, but often what happens is they just die down to the ground and they come back. I'm just gonna stick some in the ground over here too. This is a chase tree. The grocery row gardens have all kinds of different things growing in them. They've got medicinals and flowers to attract pollinators, and just flowers because they're beautiful. And we have a lot of berries. We have fruits. We have some nuts. I have some hazelnuts. I have planted konjac in here. I've planted Mexican tree spinach, lemon balm, stevia, eggplants, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, figs, Mexican sunflowers, comfrey, mint, cannas. There's so many things in here. A lot of asparagus too. All right, I've only got 4 left to plant. We gotta find a gap. This is a heritage raspberry right here, which I've told you all about. It actually made some good tasting raspberries, much better than most of the southern types that I've had. Zone 8 is the bottom of its range, and we are in zone 8. So I was a little concerned that it wouldn't make much in the way of raspberries, but it did. And they were delicious. My little 2-year-old daughter ate tons of them this spring, and I do think my wife ate quite a few as well. They are definitely related. With the Grocery Road Gardens, the concept is you've got a gap, you fill it in. You mulch the area as you can, you mix the different perennials and annuals together, and you've got this permanent framework of the perennials, and then the annuals come and go. And then you might have a perennial like these onions, which you could divide and pull and harvest as you like, switch them for something else at a different time of year or whatever you want. But your main framework are your perennials like these raspberries, and then apples and peaches and plums and nectarines and all those kinds of things. And then in between, you grow all the vegetables that you need. And it becomes this beautiful, integrated, multifaceted system. Well, thanks for joining me today. I've got Randall from Floribama Homestead coming over real soon here. He's gonna take some logs and cut them up on his sawmill, which I think is really, really awesome. A magnolia got knocked down by one of the storms, and it was turned sideways and fallen out of the ground, so my neighbor cut it down. And we're gonna cut that magnolia up into boards. And I might make some musical instruments out of it, and I would like to make a couple of benches out of it. And we've also got a cherry tree that needs to be cut up. So lots going on, and hopefully I'll get to film that too. It really depends. It's raining right now. I don't know how the weather is gonna hold out or what's gonna happen. But sufficient unto the day is the troubles thereof, and we're not gonna worry about it. Catch y'all next time. If you wanna learn more about the Grocery Road gardening system, check out the link below. And again, my book, Compost Everything, where we basically just compost everything. I'll also put a link to that. You'll enjoy it. If you've ever had trouble with composting, this is the book for you. Stop worrying about it. Start using everything to feed the soil. And hey, if you're worried about the fertilizer disappearing and the supply lines and everything being weird, it's time to compost, folks. Learn to compost, feed your garden without having to buy anything. So, catch you later. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.
Put a little bit on my food.
It's the one and only Digo Double.